Our political editor, Beth Rigby, reports on the UK's response. There is a warning. Her report contains flash photography.
Nobody sleeps when Europe's on the brink of war.
Isn't Russia unstoppable now?
The Foreign Secretary arriving before sunrise, an emergency Cobra meeting convened in the early hours, and a promise to punish Putin.
If Vladimir Putin continues down this track of violence, of aggression, of a full-scale invasion, of encircling Kiev itself, which is what he seems to be proposing to do, capturing the Ukrainian capital, it is absolutely vital that that effort, that conquest of another European country should not succeed.
Will sanctions be enough to stop Putin, Prime Minister?
An attempt to answer that question in the Commons as the PM announced limited measures, sanctions against 5 Russian banks and 3 individuals.
This is the first tranche, the first barrage of what we are prepared to do, and we hold further sanctions at readiness.
The Labour leader falls square behind the PM on the principle, but frustrated that strong rhetoric hadn't translated into enough real action.
We must be prepared to go further. If we do not respond with a full set of sanctions now, Putin will once again take away the message that the benefits of aggression outweigh the costs.
The complaint that current measures are not enough, widely shared. It's not doing anything, said one MP. The Prime Minister taking notes as all sides of the House called for heavier, harsher measures.
We need to hit them if we're going to hit them with sanctions hard and hit them now. They need to feel the pain of the first part of this decision.
President Putin has made a terrible decision. Will the Prime Minister make sure he pays a terrible price?
Foreign Secretary, are the sanctions enough? A question being discussed behind this door as the Foreign Secretary was summoned to a second Cobra meeting of the day.
Are the sanctions strong enough?
Sanctions in London, British troops to Ukraine's neighbouring borders. This was the PM visiting army personnel in Poland just days ago. And today the government promising more military help if necessary.
As I have warned and warned the Kremlin for weeks and months that, as we knew in 2014, he gets the opposite of what he wants. He will get more forces on his borders, and just as he did in 2014, he will no doubt get more spending on defence in NATO.
But for all the rhetoric, there was disquiet in this place today over that package of sanctions. Bringing a pea shooter to a gunfight is how one foreign policy expert put it. This is a significant moment in the history of the 21st century. Europe stands on the brink of war, and our leaders simply don't know whether Putin intends to go on or take a step back. But what we do know is that in years to come, they will be judged on how they met the moment and whether in that moment they did enough.
There's an old military maxim which is clout, don't dribble. And the reason you should hit hard early is to make sure you're absolutely clear that any escalation will hurt. There's no point in ratcheting it up.
The PM will be considering the UK's next move. This is the end of a very long and dark day and the beginning of what could be a protracted and bloody crisis. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Westminster.